So, yesterday, Smithsonian Museum officials gave their testimony to a House Oversight Committee hearing over GOP claims that the American History Museum has been using a radical ideology in their exhibitions about history. Oh. Take a look.
Is it important to be polite?
Yes, sir.
It's also interesting because the same mass action toolkit that your organization has been promoting references politeness as a defining characteristic of white supremacy culture. Ma'am, are you a white supremacist?
No, sir.
Is sexual imagery, provocative sexual imagery, appropriate for kids? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we strive to represent all Americans.
You strive to represent
fullness of
queer,
American
pedophiles, indoctrination, grooming of kids at an American History Museum, and it sounds like you're proud of it.
Black people across this country are outraged at what is happening now with these efforts to do away with the African American Museum and all of the Smithsonian. If you erase it, we will replace it. It's that damn simple.
So, you know, people don't understand. Oftentimes, if you're not a person of color, you don't understand some of the things that we see that maybe y'all don't. I think that they were trying to make a point that was ridiculous because the Smithsonian's point is that everybody has all of these issues. So when you look at their list of things that they were complaining about, they were talking about people seem to feel that being polite, being hardworking is only for white people. That people of color, we don't work our behinds off, that somebody has to put us in order to get what we need. Things like 2025, where you look at all of those generals, and the man said out loud, they're DEI hires. Mm-hmm. That's how people look oftentimes at us.
Well, they're racist.
Well, I don't know if they're racist.
Yeah,
maybe they don't. Listen, maybe they don't know any better. Maybe they don't know that that banks treat us differently than they treat them. Maybe it's not in your purview to know because it doesn't happen to you. So it is important for us to say that list of things that they had where they're talking about, you know, you have to be nice. And he says, do you think you're polite? You know, yeah, we're all polite. That's the point. If you stop saying that we didn't get where we got because of hard work, it won't feel like you're sliced out. But because these are the things that we have had to deal with, this is what people call it. That's why that's there. I did a deep dive into this because I didn't understand what I was reading. And then I saw it and it was like, listen, what they're trying to say is it's about the assumption that these values, which have been traditionally assigned to white people exclusively, should be assigned to other races too. The guide is to make sure that all races are represented with those values, not just white people. We all have these values. That's what that's for.
In that specific document,
guide.
it's about a particular document that was basically studied by some Smithsonian officials. It was at one point displayed and then taken down. This was several years ago.
Yeah.
My issue with it is two things. There is so much that the government should be focused on right now. This is when I see that this is what Congress is spending its time on, I'm like, no wonder 86% of Americans have totally disapprove of the job that Congress is doing. But I also think that if Republicans want to get away from this notion that we have an issue with race, there's really easy ways to avoid it. Why are we taking Harriet Tubman off of money?
Bill.
She was signed up to be on a $20 bill. Why not just do that? She is part of the fabric of American. She's an American hero. She's somebody we should all celebrate. It's like, why pick these fights that seem so obvious and are going to backfire? I could definitely come up with issues I have with certain institutions that I think have gone too progressive. I think a lot of academic and higher education has, but that's a different debate.
Maybe
this is about the Smithsonian.
Maybe they were appealing to their base, and this is a way to get these racist types out there. And now they're getting them on their team. What other reason would they be doing this?
I think I think the real reason behind this is a about financial repair to the descendants of the enslaved Africans.
Say what you mean, so you can say, so people understand. Yes.
Reparations.
Yes.
I think this reflects a really broad effort by the Trump administration to reshape the way the nation's history is told so that this country does not have to pay Black people for the forced labor and the unpaid labor that built this country. I really think that's what this is about. If you look at Project 2025, that's what this is about.
Follow the money.
Because even after 250 years, there is so much repair that needs to be done when it comes to aggrieved groups in this country, but especially African Americans. Let's face it, when you have truth and reconciliation commissions, and you've had them when it comes to the interned Japanese Americans, you've had them when it comes to the Holocaust, you've had them when you've come to Native Americans, it has not happened, truth and reconciliation commissions, when it comes to slavery, and that is because they're trying to bury the truth part. You cannot have true reconciliation, and then you cannot have true financial repair unless you have the truth. And they're trying to erase that truth. So it's actually very important because I want to mention that in March of 2020, March 25th, 2026, just this year, the UN General Assembly adopted a resolution officially declaring that the transatlantic trafficking and racialized chattel enslavement of Africans is the gravest crime against humanity in history, in the world. Only 3 countries voted against it: Argentina, Israel, and the United States. And when the United States voted against it, the United States said the following: it does not recognize a legal right to reparations for historical wrongs that were not illegal under international law at the time they occurred. And so what this is about is money, Joy.
Yeah.
This is not about anything else. It's about this country trying to avoid paying African Americans our due.
Well, and also, I think one of the things I heard written in there is about how these museums aren't focusing enough on the beautiful things of this country. And that jumped out at me because I thought, nobody's lost that part. The part that people are not getting are the hidden figures, the stories that were never told, the ones that weren't allowed to be told. And there's a book I read in college that totally changed my whole worldview. It was called Lies My Teacher Told Me, Everything Your American History Textbook Got Wrong. And I remember it was like literally looking back at everything and realizing when you look at a text like a Bible or a school book, that someone wrote that book. It was interpreted, I won't get into sorry, I'll take the Bible out in case people have a real issue with that part. So textbooks, there was a company for profit behind that. Slavery was a massive part of this history. And when I was growing up, it was one chapter in my history book. They didn't dodge it completely. They definitely didn't give it the air it deserved. They also were big on glorifying the history and historical figures. We can accept, I believe everyone in this room and everyone watching right now has a brain that can comprehend that US American presidents did some amazing things. Some of them owned slaves. We can see both of those things.
Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is for every historical figure, they felt that they needed to tell us how perfect they were. When any human knows what it's like in families, in relationships, that nobody's perfect. You can honor a great thing. And also tell that these museums are crucial to the history that's been dug up and needs to be told that hasn't always been told in our schools, continues to not be completely told in our schools.
But also there are art museums everywhere in the country. This is one particular museum that's doing this. Why can't they go to the Metropolitan if you want to see it? I know that, but I'm saying they want it to be beautiful things about it. There are other museums that have beautiful Grecian urns.
But it's the entire Smithsonian.
And paintings by Monet. Go there.
It's the entire Smithsonian institution. So
which is a number of different
museums.
But this is the museum they've chosen to go after, is the African American Museum.
Yes.
And that's the that's the thing that's
Blacksonian, as I like to call it.
Well, you know, here's the deal. No country is perfect. No country on this earth has ever been perfect. Every country has done slaves. Every country has had it, and every country dropped it.
But not every
for
country
a reason.
did it as chattel slavery. Did not.
You know, the Romans were.
I
got to tell you, the Romans did it as property. My point is, you cannot say that America is any worse or better than any other country because they did the same stuff. What we want is just admit it. Just say this is what happened. And stop pretending. And stop pretending that it didn't happen. It did, and we have, people always say, let's get over it. We've been over it.
Well,
we want everybody else to get over it.
We're still living under the effects of it as well.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
If you make things equal, we will get over it. We won't have to think about it. And that goes for women, for African Americans, for gay folks. If you stop pointing these things out that bother you, then we'll stop talking about it. But as long as you keep picking at it like it's a surprise to you, we're gonna keep saying, hey, read, ask, talk to people, the information is there.